Welcome back to another episode of Divine Journey 2. In the last episode, we automated the rainbow generator, as well as setting up the quantum quarry to get Rallium ore. First off, instead of having this Enderio tank that used to be here for the milk buckets, I just hooked up the storage bus right on the animal rancher, and that's what supplies the milk buckets now, instead of going through the tank. So that's much cleaner and easier. So the plan for today is to get into Chapter 14, which is Abyssal Craft and Divine RPG. And the first thing we need to do is fight these 3 Divine RPG bosses. We have to make the summoning items for them. Here's the Mysterious Clock, the Horde Horn, and for this Call of the Watcher, we have to make Ender Alloy, which we haven't made yet. And it takes the enhanced version takes this ender rope, which takes industrial leather, which you can only get in the chemical injection chamber or the arc furnace. So I've gone ahead and made this chemical injection chamber, and to actually supply it with the sodium that we need for the treated leather, I think, or the industrial leather rather, we need to electrolytic separate brine into chlorine and sodium. And then there's just a pattern in here that converts the raw leather to the industrial leather. And we're just going to keep that on demand for right now. That'll probably get changed to passive eventually. But since we only need 2 right now, it's good enough. Okay, the first Divine RPG boss we have to fight is the Ancient Entity. And that's in the overworld. And we just have to use the Mysterious Clock. And here we go. It's pretty simple enough. Next up, we need to fight the Watcher, which can be done in the Nether, the Eye. Okay. He does a lot of damage. Ow. Ooh. The final boss we need to fight is the I don't know how to pronounce that. That's done in the end. The reason we needed to fight those 3 bosses is for this unholy token, which is needed for the Divine Rock, which is actually the portal frame to the next dimension we need. To actually progress any further and to get this mysterious clock that we need to actually open the portal, we need to go back into Chapter 13 and actually complete this quest here for the 12-byte memory card. So I put all those through Applied Energistics, but it turns out we're actually low on Buffalo Hide and Imp Hide. So I've actually gone ahead and made 2 powered spawners. One has the Imp and one has the Buffalo. And now we should have automated hide if these actually spawn. And there should be enough space for both of them. And I just have basic capacitors in there since we don't need a huge ton right at this moment, but that'll probably get upgraded eventually. But yeah, there's our automated Imp Hide and Buffalo. Okay, I've gathered up everything for the 12-byte memory card. There's just a lot of waiting for buffers to fill, pretty much. But we can now make the Twilight Clock and open the Eden portal. Now the 2 resources we need from Eden are these chunks, which will eventually let us spawn the Sunstorm from the spawners around the world. And we also need this Eden Door key from the dungeons. So I guess I'm going to go dungeon hunting and I'll come back. Okay, I managed to gather up enough chunks to be able to fight 2 sunstorms. So all we have to do is just click on the spawner, and there he is. And I don't know how much of this heart we need. It looks like just 5 actually. So I'm gonna go dungeon hunting and I'll come back. Alright, I've flown around for quite a while, and I think I found what we're looking for. Alright, so I found that lever in one of the back rooms, and it seems to have opened up this little area. We can now go down, and this should put us in the maze. It looks like it does. This is gonna be fun. Ah, looks like we found the boss room. All we have to do to actually summon the boss is just press the button. Here's our first boss dead. And using this key, we can now open this door down here and have a golem spawn down there. And there's our loot. And our 7 unholy essences that we need. Next up, we need to make both crystallized canola oil as well as the empowered version, and that's actually required for the Shogoth flesh. And we only need 8 because it's 1 per statue, and there's only 7, but it takes 500 millibuckets per. So we need 4 recipes of the empowered. So I think I'm just going to manually do that for right now. So if the ratios are right, all we need to do is just throw in 50 canola into the squeezer, and this should give 4 buckets of oil, which go into the fractioning still and actually give the actual refined canola oil. Right, it looks like the ratios were correct. Then we need to atomically reconstruct regular canola seeds into the crystallized version. And then we have to throw seeds into the actual oil to get crystallized oil. Now we need to take our crystallized seeds and empower them. Then to get the empowered oil, we just have to do the same thing, throw the seeds in. Now to actually get the Shogoth flesh, it's just rotten flesh and the empowered oil in a fluid transposer. Now to get started in Abyssal Craft, we need to make the monolith stone. That's actually required for the statues we need to make. Now we need to make 1 of every statue, which includes the Cthulhu statue, the Hastur statue, Jazar statue, the Azoth statue, the I can't pronounce that statue, the Yog Slothoth statue, and the another one I can't pronounce statue. The last thing we need for the Necronomicon is 1 of these shadow gems. And I was actually lucky enough to find a spawner for 1 of them a while ago, so I just had that marked. So I went over there and farmed up a couple shadow fragments. But now we have everything to make the actual Necronomicon. To actually get started in a Abyssal Craft, we have to make this little ritual structure here. And if we shift right click with the little block, it'll actually turn into the altar blocks, and now it's actually usable. Next up, we need to make some Corallium infused stone, which just takes some dark stone, some gems, and dark solarium. Another thing we need is the advanced crafting table, so I've gone ahead and just made recipes for all that. And I think the only thing we're missing is crafting tables. Oh, actually we're missing sand and gravel. Hold on, I might have to fix some... Oh, we're out. Well, alright, after a bit more crafting, we now have our advanced crafting table, which is a 5x5 crafting table. And the first three things we're going to make is the energy pedestal, the energy collector, and the energy relay. To perform rituals and whatnot, we need to gather up some PE, which is basically Abyssal Craft's power source. And one of the ways we can do that is actually with the statues we made and the energy pedestal. As you can see, the particles shoot into the pedestal, and if we actually put our book on there, it'll actually provide it with some PE. And also if we hold it in range, the pedestals will give the book PE. But yeah, basically just have to wait till we get enough PE. And the first little thing we're going to make is the Transmutation Gem, and that takes 1500. So I'm going to wait here a bit until I get that, and I'll be back. Alright, our book has enough PE to actually perform the ritual, and I placed everything down in the respective spots. And if we just shift right click, it'll start. And there's our Transmutation Gem. Okay, our next goal is to make the Oblivion Catalyst, which takes this advanced Ender Core, which we have to right-click on with an end crystal in the end. And I actually got lucky because these inactive ones actually spawn in the dungeon chests in Eden. So that was nice. I didn't have to craft all of them. But just to activate it, we have to right-click it on an end crystal. And now it's activated. Using the new Transmutation Gem, we can make some shards of Oblivion. Alright, I've gathered up the other materials we need, as well as let the book charge to 5000 PE. And the one thing that's different is this actually requires a sacrifice. So I believe we just have to activate it and then kill, and it should work once the book drains all of its PE. There we go. And I don't know what that was, but there is our Oblivion Catalyst. Okay, I've gathered up the remaining materials for the Gateway Key, which is the next item we need to progress further into Abyssal Craft. Now that we're in the Wastelands, a couple things we need are some Abyssal Stone, which is just basically the cobblestone and stone of the world. That's easy. And also those chain links for the Corallium Stone quest right here. So I'm going to mine that up real quick. Next up, we need to make the Transmutator, which takes 6 full tanks of liquid Corallium, which can just be found anywhere, like right there, and there's a couple more around the area. But I have to fill up 6 of these tanks, so I'll be back in a minute. One thing that's actually made this pretty easy is it's a neat little trick you can do with the reservoir. If you hold a tank in your inventory, it'll actually just drain straight from the reservoir instead of you having to place it in world and then do it by hand. So that was very helpful in filling all these tanks up. Alright, after waiting a very long time for all the refined Corallium to make itself, as well as I also had to make another Transmutation Gem because the other one we have didn't work because the damage, so that was kind of annoying. But all in all, we now have the Transmutator. And with that, I think I'm going to end this episode here. In between episodes, I think I'm going to automate a bunch of these empowers, as well as the Atomic Reconstructor over there, because I'm already getting sick and tired of doing all this manually. So I'm not sure how many I need. I'll figure it out in between episodes, though. But yeah, thanks for watching.